Welcome to the Connect Miami with author and life coach columnist Susie Moore, lifestyle and wellness coach Tracy Campoli, and the hottest radio jock in Miami, Stitches. Pull up to our community where we collaborate, we cultivate, and we make magic. Let's go.
Happy Saturday! We are back and grateful to be spending our Saturday morning with you. I'm here with my amazing co-host, and if you're here each week, you know that we've been diving into all things business with the goal of inspiring and connecting to other women in business and female entrepreneurs. Good morning, ladies!
Good morning, ladies.
Here we are. Today we're going to get right into it and talk about money. Have you heard the saying, money goes where it's treated best? Interesting. What have you learned about the flow of money as you've built your business?
For me, another thing is energy. Money is just energy, right? And so if I'm in a place of not really being fully behind what I'm doing and kind of like, I hope that this works, or maybe this is good, but not fully backing it, that always shows because the results won't be as good. Whereas if I'm like, this is the best thing ever, like everyone needs this, I know it's going to make such a difference for you, that's when the results, because I'm fully backed behind it, the results will be that much greater, right? Because money is energy.
I completely agree. Energy. And like you said, Stitches, profit margin. I think it's really surprising how few people still actually don't know their margins. Often, if I just ask somebody in a business coaching setting, what are your margins, gross versus net, they don't know. And it's great to know, and it's great to have a very specific goal. It depends on what your gross is. Typically, your margins change the more gross you welcome into your life, but it's so critical to know. And the other thing that I've learned is you have to be willing to work on your money mindset and be able to welcome more and more in, to be comfortable with receiving more, and to allow yourself to enjoy your money too, because that's also the purpose of it, right? Like your relationship with money and the narrative you tell yourself about your money management is important. So have there been any things that you've had to unlearn as your income started to increase? I love this question.
Ooh, that is such a good question. Yeah, definitely. I think it's, the saying of like new level, new devil, right? And so knowing that it's safe for you to receive, that was always an interesting one for me. Like, if the monkey mind would come up being like, oh, that was a fluke, or that was just luck, or like, maybe you can't recreate that, and having to work on the mindset of, no, that's your skill, that's your gift, and it's safe for me to receive and welcome more in. And everything is just this beautiful exchange, right? Because whether you're doing a service or selling a product, the ultimate goal in business for most people is to help people, right? Whether you're helping improve their life in some way or make a difference. So there's always this beautiful exchange, but you have to be open to receive it, right? What about you, Stitches?
Stitches, what have you had to unlearn?
Yeah. What I had to unlearn, there's this saying when you said new levels, new devils, and there was a saying, not even saying, more like a scripture that says money is the root of all evil. But that's something that I really had to learn, because it's like not loving money, but being very, very, very attentive to what that says. For those who do know that line, for the love of money is the root of all evil. When we love money, and I heard this line, chasing money. For me, I never was a person that chased money. I did the work, and I did what I love to do, and made sure that it was able to sustain me. But it wasn't a situation where I would be moved. And I mentioned this before, where I'm moved by money, and I would be willing to do anything for money. So that saying, I had to unlearn that. It's not the root. The love of money is the root of all evil. And it's not so much, we know we need money to live. Like, hello, I need money. I have to buy something. I need money. I have to put gas in my, I need money. I have to buy the house. Tracy, you just bought a house. Congratulations to you, boo-boo. So just in case you're wondering where she's at and what's going on, yes, it costs money. Beautiful background. That costs, but it's not so much. it's not so much not doing what you need to do to get the money. It's loving money and doing anything for money. That's what I had to really unlearn.
How about you, Susie?
I think the unlearning is critical because I had to unlearn a lot. I come from a poor family, grew up on welfare. All of the shame that can come from being in a poor family was something I really had to release. And the way that I did that specifically, I mean, there are lots of things, but I'll narrow it down to one. It was finding role models, finding other women who maybe, or men, who had backgrounds like mine and who created a different story. And then the kind of beliefs, like my beliefs around money that I was taught was like, money that there isn't any, and rich people are kind of, they're unethical, they're doing something wrong. And so that's something to unlearn for sure, especially if you want to really welcome abundance. But I think seeking out role models, reading a lot of books, especially autobiographies, self-help books, business books, it really makes a difference because your mind is your motor, and whatever belief you're thinking is going to just drive the direction that you're going in. So that unlearning for me has been critical. So, oh my gosh, I love this topic. And we're wasting no time this morning because we have a special guest coming up momentarily. Chef Tommi is taking us into the Super Bowl Sunday. We're talking food and we're talking charity next.
Pull up, girl boss, and join the show. That's right, it's time for your 5 minutes of fame with the hosts of the Connect Show Miami. Yes, every week we bring you girl bosses that bring the magic. It's time for the Level Up, ladies. Join us on Saturdays, 6 a.m. on Fox 29. Register to be a guest at theconnectonline.com.
Tommi Vincent is a celebrity chef, motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and writer, best known as the matriarch of Vincent Country and the wife of Troy Vincent, executive vice president of NFL football operations and former All-Pro NFL cornerback. Welcome, Tommi. So we've got to ask you first, who is going to win the game this weekend?
Oh, now Stitches, cut it out because the Dolphins aren't even in the Super Bowl. But Troy was drafted to the Dolphins in the first round back in his day. So we are still fans of the Dolphins and the organization itself. But I don't know who's going to win the game. I just hope it's a really good game. Nothing is worse than watching a game and the score is extremely lopsided and you don't have an opportunity to enjoy the competitiveness.
So you and your husband are hosts of the Safezone, and that's your charity. And I know that it's going to be virtual this year. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
So I'm actually really looking to this year's Safezone Activity Day. We are virtual, but it's a hybrid model. So normally we are on the ground with 55 volunteers. This year we had to scale back to 12 to make sure that we were able to accommodate the students and allowing the activation to take place at the school. And what we did this year was we created actual individual safe zones. So on the grounds at Just Elementary School, we had laid out a grid, and each block in the grid is 6 feet. And so the students are going to have the opportunity to be in their safe zone. And then we have 86-inch screens that are lined across the court. And so the instructors, Eddie Mason, who's also a former NFL player, he's a current NFL legend, he's actually teaching and going through some physical activities with the kids. And then we have a couple of NFL players, NFL legends that are going to be on site. So we've made a modification to make it COVID friendly. But we knew it was really important for us to be on the ground with the kids and creating an environment where we're fostering the safe zone filled with fun and food and activities for the students. It's
That's
this pandemic is it's important to find ways to create as much normalcy as possible. And we felt like this was something we needed to figure out a way to make it happen for the students.
that's beautiful. And I know, Tommi, I know we met before, and I wish we had more time with you to talk more about your story, because you have 5 kids, you have a business, you are a wife, and ladies, I don't know if you know this about Tommi, but there was a situation where she told me at a point she was that woman on the tractor that was, what do you do on the tractor? I don't even know. What do you do on the tractor? Like, she's that woman that's on the tractor and on the farm. So with all that going, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
With all that going on, you also find time to pour back into other women and give back with your podcast. Talk to us a little bit about that. Stay a while.
Yeah, so Stay a While, that is my newest baby. It launched on Wednesday. And I felt it so necessary to create a table where women from all walks of life could take a seat at this table. I myself personally, as Stitches was alluding to, I took this journey in life as a woman, a mother, and a wife of someone. You know, my husband is a leader in his industry and has been a leader since we were married. I got married when I was 19. And then through the course of all of that, somewhere along the way, I forfeited my development. And not because someone was telling me I needed to do that, but I was doing that because my focus was just on everyone else and making sure everyone else was succeeding. And the short of this is when I came up out of depression, I knew it was necessary for me to snatch my life back and create a space for other women to be able to get the keys to succeed that I was able to get. The keys, when I talk about success, I'm not talking about the success in business like you all were talking about earlier with money and business. I'm talking about your personal success, the success of you. And so this podcast focuses on the ladies and any and everyone that's listening, that making sure that we make ourselves a priority so that we are thriving and not just surviving, because life is so much more than stuff and all these other things. We need to be successful people from the inside out. So then we're making positive contributions to our communities.
Oh, amen. You are in the right place, because that is what we are all about here at the Connect Network. So we're just so happy to add that. So we'll definitely be checking out your podcast, your new baby.
So tell me, you talked about giving back in the community, which is what the Safe Zone and what you and your family, Vincent Country, is all about. Speaking about NFL and your family is sports related. And especially being at Black History Month now, how are you feeling, or can you give us your thoughts on the climate within the NFL now, especially from Colin Kaepernick kneeling, and now people, I believe, we're in a time where people are really seeing there is a problem. A lot more people are seeing that. What is your take on it?
So personally, as a Black woman, I didn't need anyone to tell me there was a problem. So let's just start right there. And then
Nice.
secondly, our family, Troy started playing in the NFL in 1992. So what we see today is not anything new. And so every single player that is represented and has Black or brown skin, you recognize that there's an issue. We've all known that. And in light of where we are today, I'm extremely grateful that not only do we see it, the people that are directly impacted by it, but people who for a long time denied that this stuff existed or rejected the notion that it was an actual problem. Now they are recognizing that something needs to be done. And in order for work like that to successfully take place and there to be real change, you need everyone across every spectrum, across every race to acknowledge, one, that it is an issue. And then secondly, we need everybody to put in motion all of your power, your relationships, your resources, to make sure that we're contributing to being a solution to this situation, because Black lives do matter. And we know I know that as a Black woman, no one ever had to tell me that. And it's just important for us to be able to convey that messaging, that while we recognize that every single person's life on this earth matters, it's important for us to understand that Black lives matter too. We are not and will not be omitted from that equation.
So every Wednesday, noon on all platforms, the Stay a While podcast with Tommi, where you open up and express yourself in a safe place. Thank you so much, Tommi, for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. I'm so glad to be at the table with you ladies.
Yes, we've got to try that recipe.
Yeah, and maybe you can send us some.
Whenever you need stitches, you know, anything to stitches. Anything to stitches.
Welcome to the Connect Network, where we bring you girl bosses month after month after month at our masterminds. If you are ready to expand your circle, join the Connect Network's membership today.
Are you ready to transform your body in just 30 minutes a day from your living room? I'm Tracy Campoli, the creator of Total Body Transformation, the excuse-proof fitness program made for busy babes like you and me to get fit, sweat, and smile. We've been featured on Good Morning America, The Today Show, and in USA Today. All you have to do is simply log in and press play. No boredom, no stress, and no dread. All in just 30 short minutes from the comfort of your own home. Go to tracycampoli.com to get started today.
Saturdays are about success, and today we're discussing products and services, subscription boxes in particular. I mean, lately box openings have been such a craze on social media. What do you think the thrill is of opening a box? Just having something new that feels good, like a gift? And what are your favorite subscriptions, ladies?
It's funny. I just ordered some ink for my computer, and I just got it, and it's like, even unboxing that, it's like, yeah, I got it, and it's just ink. But I think it's that idea of unboxing something new, and it's for you. It may be something as simple as ink. It's still yours.
It's a bit like Christmas, no matter what. You have to say anything on box. You guys ever think, oh, something from Amazon or wherever else, what have I been buying? What are all these boxes that keep arriving? And then you're like, oh, it's coffee or something like that. But whenever you get a juicy subscription or something that you're kind of waiting for that's a bit of a surprise, that kind of switches it up, don't you think?
Absolutely. I love that. I'm a huge fan of the clothing rentals. That's like my favorite, because it's like shopping, but like you're helping the environment and you get new stuff and you don't even really know if it's going to work or not work. And there is something that's a little bit exciting about it, right?
Yes. I have to say, I love a subscription box, especially if there are things in there that you're not necessarily expecting. And from subscription boxes in the past, I've discovered a few things. I discovered the webcam cover for the laptop. Boom. I've discovered extra special, very comfy socks. And I've discovered incredible books too. So you never really know until you kind of get rolling with subscription boxes, how they might, what you might be missing out on and not even realizing it. You know, we've all had those feelings, right?
It's true. And I think now more so than ever, of course, because people are still, quarantining. And since the pandemic, we've had to stay inside. So I think now more than ever, people are on these things of subscriptions and buying a lot more online since the pandemic. And I don't think that is ever, I don't know, do you think that's ever going to change? Or do you think it's going to stay there for a while? Or that's not going away? What do you think?
I don't think that's going to go away. No, not at all. I think that, I think a lot of things are going to have changed and might not go back to where they were before. Just because now, we have discovered, as we hear all the time, our new normal, right? And we're realizing that there is so much that can be done from the ease and the comfort of our home. I think a lot of businesses even aren't going to go back to working in offices, but working from home models. But yeah, especially when it comes to subscriptions, grocery delivery, like things like that. I think that will continue. That's my 2 cents.
And I feel too that we're lucky, right? I mean, my mom never had this option of all of these deliveries, right? Like, like going to the store, if you got something, you got to go back to the store. All of the things that we just order. I mean, to be alive at this time and have access, all the things we have access to, even if we don't use it, like what a blessing. Like already, what a blessing. And subscription boxes, I just think are really fun and they're worth the treat. Like you're worth it. You're worth getting a gift delivered to your door every month with a surprise for you. You're worthy of that. And you never know what you might discover that's been missing in your life. Stuff that's helpful, useful, beautiful, and stuff too that can just kind of keep you busy in your business in a helpful way. And coming up next, are you being busy? Are you busy being busy? Are you actually moving the needle? Very good question in your business. More next on that.
Here's a look at Regina King's directorial debut of One Night in Miami. What happens when Cassius Clay, Malcolm X, Jim Brown, and Sam Cooke find themselves in the same room?
Cassius Marcellus Clay is the new heavyweight champion of the world, boy.
Yes, he is.
And I don't even have a scratch on my face. Oh my goodness.
Cash.
Cash? What?
Cash. What?
Why am I so pretty?
Ah.
And I'm only 22 years old. There is no way I'm supposed to be this great. Look, Alexander the Great conquered the whole world.
Available only on Amazon Prime.
Welcome back to the show, my friends. Let me ask you this. Does being busy, self-awareness about busyness too, do these things impact success and how we just perform, how we show up? What do you guys think?
I think busyness is a trap. It's a big old trap. There's like that badge of honor, like, oh, I'm so busy. And I definitely used to have that. And the more I've grown in my business and then, add in being a mother as well, it's like the less I do, the better I do. So I'm always like, I try to have my to-do list and the things that I'm doing in my day-to-day be like 3. It doesn't mean like I'm doing 1, 2, 3 emails, but like chunk of emails, what other tasks do I have to do? So really streamlining. So I'm really focusing on the things that are actually moving the needle as opposed to everything.
One thing that I've learned about busyness is that it's a bit of a lie. First of all, because we all get 24 hours in a day, but I prefer to think, am I producing or not producing, right?
Nice.
And it's very easy to measure that because if you're so busy, right, whatever that may be, is there an outcome? Like, can you see it? Is there a podcast episode that's been recorded? Is there a pie that's been baked? Like, are there emails in your sent items? Like, is there something tangible that's been produced? In which case, awesome. But I think so much of it is just sloppy thinking, walking around the house, pacing around the water cooler if you're in an office, with a lot to do, but nothing actually happening. And I think it's really important to be honest about that. It's like, what did I produce today? You can be so busy all the time because busyness really begins in the mind and it can be a very stressful thought. But it's like, what have you created? Can I see it? Can I look at it? Can I touch it? Can I eat it? what is the thing? So I think that's a great distinction. Busyness versus actually producing. And even just the word producing just feels better. Makes you feel far more in control.
And for me, there was a saying that I always heard. It's like you could be busy doing a whole lot of busy of nothing. And for me, I had to learn because things were exactly what you said, Susie. Things were being produced and they were great, but it was like, it goes back to, did it make sense for the purpose? Did it make sense for the goal? Because it was great, the outcome was good, and people were like, "Man, this is great." But when I really took a step back, and I'm like, "Okay, but does this match the essential goal? Does this match the bigger picture and purpose?" So for me, I always had to. And even still sometimes, because we get caught up, we're women. I think we're used to multitasking. For me, a lot of times I can do a lot of things, but it doesn't mean I need to do everything.
Oh, very important. And
Yeah.
with the busyness, I think sometimes too, we're just avoiding ourselves or avoiding something because it's so easy to immerse yourself in like all the things. You can do a million things a day that aren't necessarily effective or helpful to anybody, least of all you, but it keeps you busy. But sometimes a good question can be like, if I've been so busy my whole life, right, it can happen. Or even just this past year, this week, whatever it may be, is there something maybe you're avoiding, an emotion? Because in the stillness, everything can kind of come to you. So I think that sometimes busy can be a bit of a mask for that as well. And it's kind of convenient because no one's going to question it. You're so busy, right? It's like first name, you're so busy, last name, you know? So I think it's good to be maybe honest with ourselves sometimes too, and think, is my busyness like expedient? Because there's something maybe else that could use your attention.
I love that. That's a great.
I think the world.
We have busy seasons too. Let's think about that, right? New baby, busy, right? There's just a lot to do, a lot to kind of manage and think about. In a launch, that's a concentrated phase of work. But a lot of the time, it's a decision that we make, and it can be a bit of an excuse. So I think that's sometimes worthwhile to consider, look at, question, and just be honest, because the only person who's missing out is you.
That's such a great point.
Yeah, and take a second.
Post-its on the laptop. Am I producing? Am I just being busy? And also another great question is, who else can do this? Because I think sometimes it's so easy to think like, oh, I have to do everything. No, you don't. No, you do not. Who else can do this better than even I could?
Yes, and if someone can do something 80% as well as you, they can have it. Remember, like perfection is about anxiety. Perfectionism is about anxiety. It's not about high standards. So when we feel like, oh, I have to manage anything, your world will always be small. Your business will always be small because we need to allow help in too. And remember to take breaks, because breaks give us perspective. They allow us to be creative, and they're also a marker of our own self-love.
I love that.
Right. Take a second. Be still. Now more than ever, quarantine, I think the world had to be still for a second. So from time to time, I don't think we shouldn't have to have a pandemic. And I'm talking to myself too. We shouldn't have to have a pandemic to just sometimes be still and really evaluate what's important and what's necessary. What do we need? What don't we need? What can we compromise on? What don't we need to compromise on? So yeah, take a second and be still.
Be still. So many good nuggets of information today. If you're enjoying the show and conversation and you want more, join our membership today at theconnectonline.com.
Yes, and make sure you keep up with us and connect with us. All the episodes of The Connect Show South Florida on Natalie's network, and of course, theconnectonline.com. Until then, ladies, who's winning? Who's winning?
We don't know. The dolphins. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Happy for free.